Hey guys, we're live. We're back playing Raid Shadow Legends. It is a Friday night. It is really late. It's midnight. It's just late. It's late. We got a decent amount of stuff to do. Let's see. We have Champion Chases here. Hey Cole. Champion Chases here, and I've kind of been putting off some stuff. We still have, let's see, we have Esme to claim, and I've got crystals to use, and hopefully, God, I would love to have a third nut, because who wouldn't want 3 nuts? You beat Amius for the first time on hard. I'm impressed. Amius is no joke, and you have to beat him to claim Marius, and that was an absolute fucking nightmare. If you don't have the exact champs to do it, it is a tough. Especially, it depends on the rotation. I haven't looked at this rotation to see what I have to be able to do it. You need 36 more within 13 days. It's been like I went through the 80 essence mission quick, like a couple of days. It was less than 5 days. The 41 took me a couple of weeks. So it just depends on how lucky you get. All right, so let's go ahead and let's see if we can do this without wasting a bunch of shards. Plus, I've got 2 remnant summons too. So let's do the summon pool. Actually, do I have, how many champions do I have? Like, where am I at? I'm at 290 of 290. We need to clear some space. Let's get rid of all of the commons. It helps. Do I don't have any 3 stars. I got 2 stars sitting. That might be enough to do it. Okay, let's go in order. Let's get Esme claimed. We'll summon her. She's been sitting there a while. It's a legendary. What did I get? That's 500 points for Esme. Alright, 2 remnant summons. Damn, I'm almost at 3. I might be able to get a 3rd one. I think I only need 2, though. Alright. Plus, if we beat Amius, that would be 3. And Dahlia. What a shit pull. Okay, 1 more. And the Cackler. Blah. That was a waste. 40 live arenas. Yeah, it doesn't take that long. It takes some gems to be able to refresh it. But it's not that bad. All right, so there's those. And let's go to the summon mission. Oh, God, I would love to have another nut. 3 nuts. Because 3 are better than 2. Of that group, that's really, if I could have anyone, it would be nuts. I would take another Armand's. I would take Hansel because I didn't get him. Another Duchess wouldn't be bad. I think I would pass on all of the epics. I'd take another Geo just to be able to empower the existing Geo, but I really want another nut. All right, let's see what we get. Venomage. All right, well, that's not horrible. I can use Venomage. How much did that do us? Okay, that only got us to 1,300 points. Is that right? Legendary and 3, yeah. All right. We also have the fuse. We can fuse our existing day 14. That sucks. Fusion, Fabian. Let's do these. So there's one. Do another one. He's in a save team. Yeah, we pull him out of the save team. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is number 2. I need to do the... What is it? The Classic Arena for another one. Champion Chase. We're actually trying to claim that one. Fire Knight, I can grind this out. What is left? How many more are we missing? So we have... What am I missing here? So 1, 2, 3. I have 3 of them. So we have Dungeon Divers becomes 4. Gear Enhancement becomes 5. Classic Arena is 6. Champ Chase is 7. And Fire Knight is 8. Okay, so there's the 8. They're all available when all available once the gear enhancement unlocks. So, is there anything else? How close are we on Champ Chase? So we're at 2,000. We need 1,500. We're going to get 350 more, which puts us at 2,400. So we're 1,100 short, even after claiming the other fusion. Let's look at Cursed City. There is... How many more remnants do we have for another remnant summon? We're at 30. So plenty of room. Okay. Teams of the week. We'll wait. So S19, S14. It's not enough to be able to claim another one yet. missed out on using the all. I forgot about pulling all this stuff for the verdant deck of fate. I didn't do it. I just grabbed as many of the shards as it could. Fragments, not shards, fragments that I could. All right, I don't want to waste. Don't want to race sacreds. It's 2 time for ancient. How many points do we get for voids? See. We're not close to mercy on anything. Let's pull. Let's pull the 5 voids. It's 2. Actually, let's pull 10 ancients. I'll pull up to 26. See if we get anything decent. Rare, rare, rare. Ooh, Rector Drath, Templar, and a Durandal. That was decent on points. Let's do Faction Guardians. Am I done? Did I finish Faction Guardians off? Rares. I think I had a couple of rares I was sitting in. I guess so. Okay, let's do. Have a Venomage we can empower. Let's throw in Frenzy. Like, yeah, we got another one here. Oh no, wait, I don't want to do that one. I think that's, yeah. Who else? We pulled somebody. Durandal, we don't need. Okay. That help on Chase? Okay, how close are we now? We're 900. Let's pull another 10 ancients. Sammy. Rare, rare, rare. Rare. Talia. So only 1. How close is it now? 26. Damn, that sucked. I got 250. That can't be right. Does it not? Did it not update yet? I feel like we should be closer. There you go. 2980. Plus we're going to get 350 for claiming another one. So we're basically 1 epic short. 1 epic short. Let's pull a sacred and then we'll call it quits. Come on. Okay. 1 sacred. Call it quits. Because once we claim the other one, I did not pull any of the rares. I don't think I did. Did I? No, I didn't. Did I? Did I just pull one? I just did. Well, son of a bitch. Shit, what can I not do? Can I skip Dungeon Divers then? I can skip Dungeon Divers. That makes life a lot easier. Yeah, I'd rather skip Dungeon Divers, and I didn't even notice I skipped one. I didn't even notice I pulled it. Shows you how much attention I was paying. Or I could skip Fire Knight. Probably skip. See, as dumb as it is, I'm half tempted instead of wasting. I'm going to do that. Instead of wasting another Sacred, I'm going to blow 10 more. I'm going to throw 10 more. Where's he at? I'm going to throw 10 more Ancients. Well, I'm close enough on Champ Chase now that it's like I may as well just do it. So let's do upgrade rank. We're going to make some space. Templar will throw in to space for. Let's do. More. Where are you at? Yeah, let's just pull 10 more Ancients. All right, 10 more. Can't believe I missed it. We pulled the rare and I didn't even pay attention. Honor Guard, War Maiden. And a legendary. Who'd we get? Damn. Dune Herald Zaharis. Honestly, it looks like my dad in cosplay. No lie. No idea who this is. One enemy, 75% chance of stealing 50% of the target's turn meter. 75% of applying a debuff spread effect, taking 2 random debuffs from the target and placing them on all enemies. A2. Attacks one enemy before attacking, has a 75% chance of stealing all buffs from the target, then applies a buff spread effect, taking all buffs from this champion and placing them on all allies. Places a block buffs debuff and a block active skills debuff on the target for 2 turns. Nice. Places 1 intercept stack on a target ally. Places block debuffs and increased speed on all allies for 2 turns. At the start of the round, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on all allies for 3 turns. Whenever a debuff on an enemy is removed, expires, or has its duration decreased, fills this champion's turn meter by 5%. And it's an all battle ally speed for 20%. I will take him. Actually, we'll build him. I kind of like the support component of this. Turn meter control on his A1. The debuff spread is fantastic. Buff spread. He would go very well with Seer. Especially every round he's put him in a shield kit and he's starting every round out with everybody in two buffs. Yeah, that is fantastic. All right, and that put us over the top for Champ Chase too, because we pulled a legendary. There it is. And now we have another one. I can't believe we pulled that and I didn't even notice it. So sad. All right, so the luck is there tonight. That means we need to switch over to the free-to-play account and pull all the shards. There's only a couple of weeks left. This thing ends the 4th. So we're looking at, yeah, less than 2 weeks. Oh. All right, let me get this running. Get the free-to-play running. Let's set this up to run Fire Knight in the background. I'm just running 20. What am I keeping? Savage, stun, regen, shield. 6 start, that'll work. Okay. We'll get this live and in the background. Can't believe I did that. Can't believe I pulled it and didn't even notice. That is ridiculously sad. We're live. Two keys. Pass. I think it's voids. Champion in the sparring pit 2 times. Throw just a level 1 in. All right, so we've got a primal, 3 voids, and an ancient to open, and enough room for it. So ridiculous. The amount of awful luck that we've had on this free-to-play account is just next level. Seriously, next level. Just cut myself opening up. All right. We'll pull the ancient first. Please. Something good out of something. Nope. QAnon shaman. 3 voids. All right. So many good voids. And we get Fellhound. Number 2. Senator Crenshaw. Number 3. And great. Amarantine Skeleton. One of my favorite looking champions in the game. Not so much to play with. I wish he was good. And we have a primal. I'm going to go ahead and pull the primal because holding on to the primals for a primal event with less than 2 weeks left, we may as well just open it. And wretch. It's like the Armantine or Amarantine or whatever the hell the other one was, but less gay. Yeah. It's like TEMU Amarantine. Same thing, just less flashy. Ugh. And the shitty luck continues. God damn it. All rares. Not even an epic to play with. We get Fire Knight and Classic Arena. We'll take the coins. Yeah, oh well. We'll leave the energy sit there until I can use it. So frustrating. It's just so frustrating. Where are we at with Clan Boss? We have no keys. 41 minutes. Do we have enough for 33? It's not enough. We're just shy. We need one more key. 3 keys? I thought we could 3 key Nightmare. It's close. I think it depends on where we're at. And we're 1 keying Brutal. So 41 minutes. Hopefully get back on and throw a key. We have a key right here that we can still use. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and switch back to my main. I'm gonna log out of the free to play. It's been a busy day. Had to go with, I went with my wife's grandparents today. We're in their 90s. It was their 72nd wedding anniversary. They've been married for 72 years. That is fucking crazy. 72 years. And they have not yet killed each other. In fact, they still act as if they can tolerate one another. I don't know if they still like each other, but they can definitely tolerate each other. And when my grandparents are dead, and my grandma and grandpa, who I was very close to growing up, died maybe about 10 years ago, I'm guessing. About 10 years ago. And like I grew up next door to them. They were my grandparents that were there for everything. And if you've ever heard my stand-up, I have a whole bunch of stuff in my stand-up about my grandma. And it is as true as it can get. The lady was nuts. She was like 4'7", 4'6", tiny little lady. She was like a skinny version of the crazy psychic from Poltergeist 2. She was like a little wild woman who could not stand to have her feet touched. If you touched her feet, she'd kick the shit out of you. She didn't like to have her feet touched. And she swore up and down she had never farted a day in her life. She just said she never farted. One day she farted and I was not there. It was like a holiday and I missed it. And the entire we have a big family, big German family. Everybody comes around for everything. I fucking missed it. I think I was traveling for work. And I get all these messages from everybody. They're like, oh my God, you missed it. Nana farted. And she denied it the whole time. And they're like, no. We heard it. Lady was nuts. But her and my grandpa they were married for, probably 60 years, like close to 60 years, if not a little bit more. And they got along fine. Never had any problems. I never heard them argue. I never heard them fight a day in their life. I'm not saying they didn't, but I never heard them fight or argue a day in their life. They were the kind of people that when they had health problems, they just didn't tell anybody. They kept them to themselves. They didn't want to they just didn't like to expound on it. They just wanted to just keep it to them. And my dad would take them to their appointments and stuff, and he would leave, and he would be like, "Oh shit, doctor was like, they gotta stop smoking, they gotta stop drinking. It was really bad." And I turned to him, and I was like, "Grandpa, how did the appointment go?" He's like, "Oh, he said I was in good health." Like, no, he didn't. Nah, I said, "Fuck it, I'm fine." That's how they were. So when all of a sudden, like my grandparents were career criminals. It's just illegal gambling. That's how they ran their life. I grew up around so much corrupt shit. Like, it was, I've talked about this before, and it is 100% true. As a kid, it was completely normal for me to get up in the middle of the night at like 9 years old, and my dad be like, "Hey, can you help? We need to clear the garage out because we're filling it with slot machines and poker machines because the ATF are raiding." That's just where I came from. And it was, my grandparents were just heavily involved in this. So my grandma never worked a day in her life, but they spent literally about 100 days out of the year in Las Vegas. It was just a very strange childhood with them. So they were around each other all the time until like at the very end. My grandpa was up every morning at 7 o'clock and then heading to go run the gambling casino. And all of a sudden we get this phone call, like he's got a heart attack and they're having all these problems. They're going to put him in the nursing home because he can't come home. Nobody can take care of him. And they said it might be temporary. We'll see how it is. And I go over to my grandparents' house, and I walk in. I'm with my dad. I walk in. My grandma, who at this point was probably in her late 80s. And it's like, how are you? We're like, can we go? We'll take you to the hospital to go see Grandpa. And she's like, "Nah, I'm good." We're like, "Do you not want to go see him?" She's like, "Nah, I'm good." "What are you going to do?" She's like, "This is the first time in 70 years I can watch what I want on TV. I'm going to sit here and watch whatever I want on TV." And she didn't. She never went. So she was like, "Fuck it. I just want to watch my TV." And that changed. Like, I looked back on everything I'd ever done and saw there, and I'm thinking, oh my God. Yeah. And my dad was like, "Jesus, Mom, you're not going to go. You don't want to go see Dad?" She's like, "No. I've been watching his stupid shit on TV for 70 years. It's my chance now." And she just planted her ass in the chair right in front of the TV and never left it. Now, she did die like about a year after. I think she only lasted a year. I think she got bored with the TV after about a year. She was like, "This is the good life." Click, 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 watching TV. And then she was like, "There is nothing on." And then she died too. So I think she spent like, it was just about a year. And then she went. I bet you that was a really good year for her. Anything she wanted to watch on TV, she did. Crazy ass lady. This is a true story too. One night they were hosting there was a gambling event going on at my grandparents' house. Gambling is very illegal here. We're in the middle of the Bible Belt, and there's like poker games. Like, you see it on TV where people have poker games and stuff. That happens a lot. But when you have big poker games and you have people having buy-ins and they show up at the house and there's like, it's a big deal. for this. And they had a multi-table poker game going on with, I don't know how much money was out on the tables, but it was a lot. And just before this, my dad had got my grandparents a brand new phone. And on the phone, there were like pre-programmed buttons that you could press. And he put his number in for one of the buttons so they could call him if they needed him. They put like my aunt as a button or whatever. And then there was like an extra button left on the machine on the phone. And my dad's like, well, I'll just program in 911 because it's not that, I guess it would be too hard to hit 911. It's easier to hit memory 5 because you're saving yourself a button. So that was my dad's thinking. I don't know what it was. So he programmed 911 in on their phone. They're having this party. It's a poker party. Money's all over the place. Whole bunch of people. A lot of drinking involved. And my grandma goes to call somebody. I think she went to call my dad. She picks the phone up, she presses memory, and she hit the wrong memory button and called 911. And they're like, 911, what's your emergency? And she's like, oh shit. And she hung up. And then she called my dad and she's like, I don't know why, I just tried to call you and it called 911. He's like, what are you talking about? He's like, it called 911. So then, sure enough, like 10 minutes later, police all show up at the house. And my grandma's trying to keep them out because there's a bunch of illegal shit going on inside the house. And she has to explain to them that my dumbass son programmed 911 in on my phone. And I accidentally called you. There's nothing to see. Everything's fine. Somehow they ended up coming into the house, seeing what was going on. And they just laughed, shook their head, and left. And, I think at some point my grandpa told him like, hey, it's, $200 buy-in. If you guys get off work, you want to come back, feel free. Yeah, that was, that's my grandparents. What was the joke? My grandma said, she said, even a broken vibrator's still a working dildo. Nothing's, the glass is half empty. Even a broken vibrator is still a working dildo. That's something my grandma actually said. Yeah. I was at my grandparents' house one day when my grandpa and his brother, who was the craziest of our family, that guy was nuts. My uncle. Great uncle. They were nuts. And my wife was there. I was probably in college at the time. And I don't remember what happened. They were talking. And I think there was some gambling going on. And some drinking. And it was like early in the afternoon. And my grandma said, we need to order food. I want some food here. And my grandpa looks at my grandma and says, well, I know what I could eat. And he turns to his brother, who's my great uncle, and they're probably late 60s at this point. And he turns to him and he goes, you remember what we used to eat when we were kids? My uncle looks at him and he's like, I think I know what you're talking about. And he goes, remember we used to get it at the Y? And he's like, yeah. And they both turn to my grandma and tell her we want box lunches from the Y. And my dad starts choking and they are crying. These two old men are just laughing their asses off. And I'm like, what are they talking about? Why is this funny? And my grandma's just like, you guys are disgusting. My dad's like on the floor. He's laughing his ass off. They thought that was the funniest shit ever. And I didn't get it. And they had to explain it to me. And my wife is sitting there. And when they're explaining it to me, made it like 10 times worse. Because they explained it with hand gestures. I'm not doing it on stream because it's bringing back like very gross memories of these two old men telling me this. But yeah, that's my family. God. Yeah, that's my grandpa and my great uncle were some crazy motherfuckers. That's my great uncle when he was a kid. They lived on a farm, and they had their own gas pump, and they used to they had to lock the gas pump up because at like 10 years old he would drink gasoline, just not a lot, but just a little bit. And he's like, if you just take a little bit of gasoline, you could smell it and then drink it stoned off your ass. So they had to lock their gas pump up to keep this guy from drinking gasoline when he was like 10 years old. He was nuts. My favorite story of this man, when I was probably about 10 years old, maybe like 8, 9, somewhere in there. And they loved to fish, camp, hunt, anything they could do. And we spent a lot of time camping and hunting and fishing and everything when I was a kid. I was out on a boat. It was on my dad. We had a boat. We were out fishing. My grandpa hated it. He didn't want anything to do with any of this stuff. He just would go along and drink. Never saw him fish, never saw him hunt, never saw him do anything. He just sat there and drank the whole time. So we're out on a boat. It's like 8 o'clock in the morning, and they're already like 3 beers in. And we're fishing, and I haven't caught anything. And my uncle keeps catching shit. Every time I turn around, he's pulling something else in. And this point, he's old. He's probably in his 60s, maybe even 70s, because he was older than my grandfather. And he had no teeth, so he had dentures. And he would do this thing where he would go, and he would stick his dentures out, like he would just pop out of his mouth. Like when it was this thing, like my great aunt would say something that would piss him off, and he would just go stick his dentures out. It was like kind of like, screw you. And I was like, why is he always catching everything? I can't catch nothing. My grandpa looks at me and he goes, it's because he's keeping his worms warm. You don't keep your worms warm. You can't catch anything if your worms aren't warm. I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, oh, he keeps his worms warm. How the hell does he keep his worms warm? And my uncle turns and looks at me, and he opens his mouth, and he has a whole mouth full of earthworms. Just like, and that's how he was keeping them warm. They were just doing it to gross me out. But he goes, and he just shows me all these worms, and I freak out. But he starts laughing at that point and shot his dentures out. And they went out of the boat into the lake, lost his dentures, and they were losing it. Like, they almost fell out of the boat. They just thought that was the funniest shit ever. But I guess my grandpa started talking about him keeping the worms warm and was just egging him on. So when I wasn't paying attention, he's over there shoving worms in his mouth. My dad's gagging the whole time because he can't take it. And then he ended up losing like $300 set of dentures. Like, the top dentures fell out right in the lake. So they had to come home and tell my aunt that he has to go get another set of dentures. But the story, and it's something I'll never forget. So was it worth $300? Probably. Back at the time. God. Guy was nuts. When he died, here's a good, this is all story time. So when he died, I was getting ready to go. I was traveling. I was in college when he died. He ended up dying. He had cancer of everything. Like, all of a sudden they're like, hey, he went to the doctor, it didn't feel good. And they're like, you got cancer of the head, the brain, the legs, the everything. Like, your whole body is just like, we have no idea how you're even alive right now. That's how it was. Like Keith Richards. And he didn't last long, just like a couple of months. And he finally went. And when he died, he was probably, of all of my relatives, other than my closest, I was closer to him than anybody. And he died. The funeral was going to be on a Saturday, and we were leaving town was heading to Chicago for the weekend. Bunch of us were going. We used to go to Chicago a lot for movie premieres. Back then, you could go see, like, they would have world premieres, and the cast would come and all kinds of stuff. So we would go to Chicago for premieres, and I can't remember what we were going there for. I don't know. It was probably like 97, 98, and he died that week, and I was like, shit. And they're like, don't, just go on your trip. It'll be fine. We'll get you into the... So they ended up, the day before the funeral was the day we were leaving. And I went with my dad and my grandpa to the funeral home and to pay my last respects before. And, you know, to just say goodbye and stuff. And we head to Chicago, and I come back, and they're like, you missed like the greatest funeral ever. Like, everybody loved it. Everybody was losing it, laughing. And I guess during the funeral, another uncle of mine, who actually wasn't even my uncle, I think he was like my third cousin, but it was of that group. They had always joked that whoever died first, the other one had to was supposed to they always joked, like, I'm gonna badmouth the shit out of you at your funeral. Like, I'm gonna tell everybody what kind of an asshole you were. And it was just a joke. Like, you better not die first, because I am gonna fuck your funeral up. And I guess the funeral's going on, and they're like, would anybody like to come up and say a few words? And like, my dad went up, and my grandparents went up and stuff. And then they're like, would anybody else to say anything? And my other uncle, stood up, and he's like, nah, he was a fucking asshole. And then everybody started laughing, and they started telling bad stories about him, like the stupid shit he did. And they're like, yeah, fuck him, he was an idiot, and he did this shit. And I guess it got really bad, but people were just laughing. They thought it was great. It's like, it's the one funeral I wish I would have. I was in Chicago. I missed it. I heard all the stories. But, so when I die, that would be great. I would love to have a whole bunch of people stand up and be like, you know what, fuck him. He was a dick. He did this. He was such a dumbass. And then they just tell the shittiest stories about me. Would be the greatest funeral ever. Alright, that's it. It's late. I need to end it here. Hope you enjoyed story time on Friday night. I roasted a funeral. That is exactly what it was. What difference would it make? I wouldn't be here. Alright, guys. Thanks for hanging out. Cole and Sammy, appreciate you. As long as you guys keep showing up, I'll keep making videos. There's nobody on to raid. I guess we're just going to end it right there. And, goddamn, I'm so glad I pulled a rare. It does make my life easier. And I need it. I need an easier night. All right. See you guys.